I 26 female realized I had hooked up with my BF 27 male, married dad 50s, and before we got serious. Try to explain the situation in the title, but it sounds weird. As it should, I guess. I've been messing with a dating app since 2019 on and off, using it for hookups mostly, if I'm being honest. I had met my now BF on there at the end of 2019, but we didn't become exclusive until April 2020. We've been living together since July, all is great. I can see myself with this guy long term. That said, around March 2020, I've hooked up 5-6 times with a man from that same app. Let's call him Donald. Well, Donald was a handsome, fit, hot-ass dude in his 50s but looking 40. We hooked up at his house, or I thought it was his, 4 times and once in his squad car while he was working nights. Now remember that this was a hookup, and I didn't care to ask anything about his life, marital status, kids, etc. We did not keep in touch after I told him I got in a serious relationship. Now cue January 2021. By the grace of God, we managed to not go to my boyfriend's parents' house for the holidays because my boyfriend couldn't leave work. So, meeting the parents got postponed until now. He told me a lot about his family, but I've never seen them. Until tonight. My boyfriend rolled out some pics with his mom, sister, brother, and dad. My eyes must have popped out of my skull when I caught a glimpse of his dad. It's him. It's him. My boyfriend noticed my reaction and asked what's wrong. I mumbled something about his brother resembling a high school classmate. Now, 2 issues. We are supposed to visit his parents on Thursday for a BBQ. As it turns out, his parents are very much married and seemingly happy together. They are also very religious and overall conservatives, so the idea of them being into polyamory or swinging is off the table. I've contemplated texting Donald and basically telling him what's up. That could backfire, though, and upset my boyfriend, because I hadn't told him first. I just know it's going to be awkward as hell either way. Should I just keep my mouth shut and never tell my boyfriend about it? Thanks in advance. Update. First off, thanks y'all for all the insights, advice, scolding, etc. It all helped make my decision, which may or may not be the right one, but it is what it is. Secondly, on to the update. Dodging the massive bullet. The BQ got canceled because my BF had to work mandatory overtime. However, I didn't want to wait for the shoe to drop and decided to figure something out. I don't think my boyfriend, who's a great dude, deserves to live with the idea that his dad is GF. None of this was his fault, and he doesn't deserve to suffer for it. Even if that means I have to lie. It would also ruin his relationship with his dad and quite possibly the whole family. I can't do that. Y'all might sit on the highest horse saying that I should burn it all to the ground, expose the cheating, and dump my boyfriend, but this is real life. As such, I called Donald and we met up. Part of me wanted to believe it's not the same person, and I was just tripping. I asked if he has a son, he said yes. Asked if he's married, he said yes. Asked if that was his house we met at, he said yes. Showed him a picture of my boyfriend, yup, that's his boy. Well, sucks. He didn't seem concerned, just laughed at the wild coincidence, especially since we are in a huge city, not some off-the-grid village. I told him I can't, in good faith, continue seeing his son and act like we're strangers at family gatherings, with all that's happened between us. If it were just a one-time hookup and farther in the past, I probably wouldn't care much. But this is all very recent, and we've done stuff together that I would never want my boyfriend to know or anyone else, for that matter. Also, there are no risque pictures from either side, no inappropriate texts. We always spoke on the phone. We talked for a while, and he basically just told me to do whatever I think is best, which I did. I got home and sat my boyfriend down. Told him I thought we're moving a bit too fast, that I don't feel ready to meet his family yet, and we should take a step back for a bit. He took it well, no drama. I felt like pushing it away, but it's better than the truth. That's not the rip the band-aid and scorched earth approach, but it's what I think was best given the circumstances. I may be wrong, time will tell. But I'm willing to take that chance if it means protecting my boyfriend and his family from some nastiness. Story 2. Am I doing the right thing or am I overreacting? My husband, 42, and I, 35, have been married for 5 years, together for 6. 2 years ago, he started becoming more friendly with my then best friend. She is also married and lives in the house next to us, to the point where I started getting a weird vibe about them, and noticed they were texting all the time. I asked him about it, and he said they're just friends who bonding really well, but there's nothing romantic. I told him it's making me uncomfortable, and he kept refusing to cut ties with her, which absolutely baffled me. He kept saying that I'm the one who needs to trust him and that he should be allowed to be friends with her. During this time, I was also suffering from acute anxiety from being bullied at work and also going through the process of being diagnosed ADHD. We had major issues intimately because I just wanted emotional support and wasn't able to have, and he kept trying to make a move after consoling me, which almost always ended with me eventually turning him down, which in turn made him feel rejected. Anyway, he asked me if I'm okay if they can go for walks here and there after work to vent. I said no, and after that the tension increased. A few months later, I found an emailed reservation to an inn and a deleted CC statement with a charge for a different inn for another date. I wait until he comes home, then I confront him about it. He started with a BS story, and I stopped him and told him I would leave right then and there unless he told me the full truth. He told me they had started flirting over texts, but that it wasn't dirty. He said they were just supportive of each other and felt they had a deep connection and got along really well, and also getting attention from an attractive, intelligent woman when I didn't give him any was addictive. He said that they had kissed on 2 occasions, but that it was like a test to see if they had deeper feelings for each other. And they didn't, so they kept things on a friendly level after that. He also said they went to a hotel, day trips, because she usually goes to one sometimes to escape the kids and be able to study for her exams, and he tagged along on 3 occasions. He kept swearing up and down that they hadn't gotten physical, even though it's extremely hard to believe that 2 adults would go to a hotel, kiss but not do more. I agreed to let him send her a last text, and when I asked him to show it to me, he said he already deleted it. I asked her to come over and explain herself, and she basically said the same thing he did. She described their kisses as not even like that. They were just pecks, even though he had admitted that he had felt her under boob at some point. She said she doesn't remember that. After that, I asked him to cut off all ties with her, and we should pretend they don't even exist. He asked to send her a final email, and I let him cause I was curious. He was pretty casual, but she replied that she was sorry that she was selfish, which cost her his presence in her life, and that he's the biggest regret of her life. I happened to be on YouTube at the time, which happened to be signed into his account. I looked through his history and noticed that he was listening to love songs on a regular basis during the period he was seeing her several years ago. He doesn't use YouTube for nearly anything, and he prefers rock music over mushy fare like country music. The date and timestamp revealed that this playlist of songs such as Sam Smith's Lay Me Down and Boyz II Men's I'll Make Love to You was being played on the days they were staying at the hotel, according to the data and others. My stomach dropped. I had to sit out the day because I was getting panic attacks and had high blood pressure, and I needed to prioritize my health before anything else. When I chose to start slowly and inquire out why he'd altered his phone behavior again, changed his PIN without informing me, which I only know about because I witnessed him enter it, and it wasn't the one I recognized. His phone was on vibrate more frequently. He responded angrily. He stated that he would not be putting up with this conduct for the foreseeable future, and that he would throw me out as soon as possible. He expressed frustration with being accused of lying and cheating, despite the fact that we haven't discussed the matter in over a year, and stated that he has done nothing wrong. His PIN was changed months ago because he wanted his privacy back and didn't want me to read his texts. I never did. That he had every right to do so. In response to him threatening to push me out, and for his clear disdain towards me, I blew up and informed him about the YouTube playlist. He didn't say anything or react in any way. The moment I began to tell him that there is no way I could continue to pretend that nothing had happened, and that he shouldn't even try to deny it, he abruptly cut me off with the words, "Then divorce me." I closed my eyes and retired to the basement for the evening. I have a sneaking suspicion that he may have been manipulative, deceptive, and gaslighting me, among other things. It makes me wonder whether he's been telling the truth all along and I've been traumatized and whipped. My suspicion as a result of my feelings of responsibility. To be sure, having an emotional affair was still cheating, according to both of our standards, but I had decided that if they had merely kissed, it would be something I would attempt to overlook and forgive. Is it possible that I'm overreacting? Should I have trusted him and concentrated on reconciling with him rather than pursuing a truth that I was fascinated with finding? At this point, I believe there is little chance of turning back, but I'm just wondering whether this is what would ultimately bring me down.